So I have found a video on the internet about kids losing their parent at a very young age. I did some social commentary on it, but I realized the way I added the social commentary, it was very emotional, which actually reflects how you go through emotions when you remind yourself about your mom or father when you passed away so long ago, which is actually beautiful because it comes from a deep place which you can't really put into words. So this video, I decided to add some context to it, and you will see me with this different shirt. So it's like two videos in one, me giving my opinion on the video, and once in a while you will see me like this adding some context to it. Make sense? Good day. Well, seeing the title of the video, it's about surviving the world without your mom, which I did since I was 6 years old. I realized with time that I have a very different look on life because when she passed away, they did it very real. She's gone. Just do your best because it's just going to get worse. And they really made it a point. You don't have any opinion in life. The moment I didn't focus on my opinion, things really changed.
My name is Rebecca Gascoigne and my mother died when I was 5 years old.
When I was 3 years old.
8 years ago.
My mum died 5.
And my mum died when I was 5 years old.
And my mum passed away when I was 9.
After my mum died, I started getting quite bad panic attacks. And I really didn't know how to cope.
I was just very anxious all the time.
It's just these random things that just set you off.
I was just so scared and so unaware of what was going to happen to me.
My emotions were everywhere and I just couldn't put anything into a box or anything.
I was joking about my mom being dead, that I had to wear glasses so I don't cry, that I was going to put cushion below it, and that nobody was going to see me cry. It was weird, but I didn't feel bad. It was more like, well, your mom passed away, just like an action movie. She's dead. There's not much you could do about it. It sounds harsh, but it kinda made the transition a lot easier. Joking is like a very good mechanism to avoid certain feelings or making them more acceptable for yourself. And some people might feel very uncomfortable by them, but you have to think about it this way. The fact that you feel more uncomfortable about it is how we feel more identified with you.
There was this time in primary when we were in assembly and a random song came on and I started crying, had to be taken out.
It was becoming quite difficult. I was in the middle of my A-levels by that point and it was just, everything seemed a bit of a mess.
The worst thing with growing up without a mother is just seeing everyone else, everywhere you go, having one, and you think, why me? Why did this happen to me?
Actually, it was even worse because I stayed so long out of school when my mom passed away. I actually lost the class, so I had to repeat. Everybody knew that I was bigger, so I was always afraid people were considering me dumber, but my need for life was stupendous. I enjoyed living, and the fact that I felt that people were looking down on me, it created the mentality that I wanted to please more people. But by trying to please more people, and I don't care about their opinion or my father's because nobody's really cares, they just say plow through, it became like a weird way that I just tried to please everybody, but when they didn't adapt to me, I could just be like, well, I don't care. I'm gonna do something else because I had a replacement. I had games, family, like 6 or 13 aunties in total to replace my mom. So it wasn't that bad. Family helped a lot and games held back. I was in the 90s. I never lingered on the pain. The only moment it became a problem, all parents, not a lot of people were divorced back then. They were always there for their kids, and that is the moment I started realizing I was Gucci. And everybody thought I was Gucci. But inside, I realized life was unfair. That kind of messed me up. I would always choose the simplest of stuff to convince myself life was Gucci. I would not reach out to big stuff. I will not aspire for big things, very small stuff. So my grades, they were good, all 6s, exactly enough to proceed. Objection! I would have to say between 6 and 16 it was the most confusing period in my life. Because how could you care so much about people that you will do everything to get their empathy, especially from women, so you can actually relate to something that you're missing for your mom, but at the same time not care about stuff so you can plow through and be the very happy person that you are going to be. It's two ways of thinking that's totally contradicting. You can be empathetic and at the same time don't care. It's like I'm my own party, let's go following me, but whenever I look back nobody was there, so I went back to pick them up. It didn't make any sense. So I was always bouncing back and forth until I realized I could keep bouncing on women because women were kind of more empathetic and they kind of protected me, which gave me that feeling like, hey, mommy is there. But guy friends didn't give me that. And then I remember a male role model in the whole family decided to tell me, hey man, you need to speak to more men and stop talking to women. It sounds very weird, but the point that he was trying to make is I don't care what you do, but you need to stop being afraid to do specific things. You need to stop caring about people, and once you go in front, when you're not caring, you shouldn't be looking back 24/7, because the people that didn't follow you, you shouldn't be looking back at them. They should follow you accidentally or depending on the situation. You should be you. I was really confused about that. I was called so many times the F word. Whew, you have no idea. Just because I was talking a lot more with women, and my brother really tried to help me with that. But you know what? Because he was trying to help me to speak to other males or his male friends or anything or make my own friends. For me, he was just telling me, man, you're the F. It was really hard. But this role model broke my head, mentally of course, and after that everything changed. Because I realized I had to be my own self-esteem.
Around me, they all had a mum, and then their mums would do stuff for them and they pick them up every day, and then I just didn't have that.
Because I was so young, I kind of think I have one memory of her. I don't imagine having a mum because I was never used to it and I never knew what that feeling was like. When I was really young, I didn't understand how my mum died and what caused her to die. And I would say, was it my fault?
I didn't know if it was me who was in the wrong, like if it was my fault that.
Was it my fault? No. I would not say that I would think that, because my parents were too realistic, or my whole family. That would never happen. But I never liked the idea that somebody wasn't prepared. Because when my mom got sick, my father put her in the car. I remember I saw my father with his panicky eyes say, let's go into the car. We didn't even ask our mom if she's okay. We just saw her like kind of paralyzed in the front seat, and my father just drove. The car had a breakdown. We fixed it, and then suddenly we drove off to the hospital. But while driving to the hospital, I realized, oh man, hey mom, when are you gonna come back from the hospital? And in that moment, I did not get an answer. That traumatized me. My father had to leave to get the doctors, leaving 2 kids in the car with a dead body, which now we realize that's just like the movie. Oh, she's gone. And this whole spectacle gave me this whole stupid thing that I lived by for so long. If you're not prepared, like having the right engine in your car, your mom might pass away. And I hated people that were not prepared and caused me damage. I could go from 0 to 100 immediately. That was one of those weird things that actually happened that really pissed me off. And you know what sucks about that? Years later, I realized it's bullcrap. Because my father told me, no, your mom passed away in the car a long time ago, before the car even had any issues. So the fact that you're thinking like that is useless. You never had a chance. It hits hard, but damn, that's life. So then comes the hard subject, and that is the reason that I almost committed suicide. I was always like the plan B of everybody, or even less. I was the subject of pity that everybody was like, oh, we have a plan A, and now we need a plan B for him too, you know? And men were treated harder back in the day because we're supposed to be strong and independent, which many people were. But when you experience something so hard and they still push you down and nobody recognizes it, and your father tries his best as he can, for example, because he's like, man, in life you have to jump. And I always was looking for a reason like, but pa, if you jump, you have to look back. Because I was trying to tell him, you need to make me a plan A. What I didn't realize that he was doing his plan A. And as a person that lost something so important that I consider a plan A, it was like A plus A is F. It was really confusing. And luckily, before I ended myself, he actually found the note and we had a great talk about it. And by having this great talk, it included somebody else, and the other family used that to make me feel more like a plan B. Like, how dare you say this about my people? Why did you reveal this? You're a monster. And I remember it was the weirdest feeling that knowing that I was about to end myself, they used that to make an example why I was a bad person. And the only thing that my father said at that moment, because he was even confused at that moment, he was like, whoa, why are you even do this to him? He defended me, but in the car, I still remember what I revealed was like very bad. So he told me, don't worry about it. It will be okay. And I remember in my heart at that moment, I just looked at him and he didn't look back at me, no, like I gave you wisdom, look in my eye, no. It was more like, it will be all okay. It will be good. And that's the first time I realized I am his plan A.
The fact that no one would talk to me about it, it created this sense of I should feel guilty, because if no one's talking to me, then what I'm feeling must be wrong.
When she first died, I didn't really know who I could trust because people didn't understand. I didn't tell many people for a while because I just found it hard to bring it into conversation.
Friends, you know, they can't give you the same support. They don't understand the experience. They don't understand what you're going through.
It was just me trying to sort of be to myself and not make them stressed out.
I'd just be like in tears for ages because I just hadn't spoken to anyone about it for so long.
Yeah, she's in heaven. And I used that as a kind of like excuse that my mom is guiding me in life. So I took it in a positive way. I didn't expect them to actually understand it because it didn't sound realistic. I just hoped that people could have a little more pity when I was sad. But I realized nobody really liked sad people, at least not back in the day. And it just made me realize, don't focus on something that you cannot change. Focus on stuff you can change. So I was like a very funny person with a big smile, or the weird repressed anger I might have had because my family is quite volatile. I was the only one that wasn't volatile. The only moment these volatile actions came out, because I had a very good poker face, I was known as a very happy person, is the day that my life got chill, my life got relaxing. That is when everything came out, because I felt safe to be myself. When this emotion started coming out, I felt like my mask is my true self, and it was like, hey, no, why do I feel like this? Why am I sad? Why am I depressed? But it was vice versa. My normal self was like coming out. You can't be angry. You can't be constantly happy. You can't be always prepared. You can't be always responsible for other people. And I realized that I was living in the past, and until my 30s, I could not properly process it, because until my 30s, I could not properly come to terms with my mom's death. The only time I really cried for my mom was in my 30s, when somebody sent me all these songs that she enjoyed, and when I listened to these songs, they just rang a bell as if she was singing them to me, how much she loved me and how much she missed me and how much she wanted to be to me. And I remember when I heard it for the first time, I was kind of chill. Told my wife to come sit next to me. She said, I listened with her, and then I broke down. big time, and she hugged me and I could not stop crying, and I would say, I don't understand why this has happened to me. It's unfreaking fair. I had the most amazing person in my life. I had this mask on for stupid reason that doesn't even belong to my natural self, and once I reached that point, it kinda sucked. I hated myself for it. But at the same time, I was proud, because the fact that I was trying to impress her in heaven, even if you say that doesn't make any sense, that was the only thing that kept me on making specific stupid decisions, because I always wanted to impress her. So whenever I spoke to a specific woman, if she didn't have like the quality of a good person, of a good mom, just like people were telling me about my mom, I would really not like you in the beginning, but I would smile in your face, but then it does just disappear because you're a waste of my time.
My school classmates were told they couldn't talk to me about it, and so all the way till I was 11 and left primary school, no one ever spoke to me about my mum.
When people would say like, oh, is your mum picking you up or anything like that, at the early stage I used to just panic.
One of my teachers asked me how my mum was coping, and I had to tell him that she died.
It made me feel that no one cared.
Through secondary school, I got bullied because of it.
And it was quite difficult to start settling in and go straight back into doing my GCSEs.
People would start saying, oh, your dad this, your dad that, oh, haha, it's funny.
Then they were saying to me, like, 4 months after she died, I should have been over it.
I could not wrap my head around why kids were saying this, and it happened, this would keep happening as it was year 8, year 9, year 10 and 11, so 4 years in living through that. It was very, very hard.
Tried to mask everything by doing schoolwork and just focusing on that and not really thinking about how I was feeling much, and just tried to think, well, I'm okay, as long as my grades are okay, then I'm doing all right. But
I guess I just realized that nobody by my standard really care. They could act for like 5 seconds, 1 minute. They might ask me about the pain, but I felt that the more I told them, the more uncomfortable I made them feel. And I can see how their natural reaction starts shifting to a pity mode. And I don't want to be pitied. You know, I don't want to be treated like a broken glass, because that will shift the attention, and then I will get different attention from other people, and then I might even get bullied. I never really bothered about it. I think I never really spoke to anybody how I felt. It was more like a short conversation. And it became kind of standard. You don't really delve deep into it. And most people don't like to tell you that, because most people are like, well, if he wants to talk about it, he will tell me. But I won't tell you. But I don't people realize how powerful it is when you try to depend on people in such situation when you don't have a mom anymore. People don't realize that you're always plan B. You're not plan A. I was always everybody's plan B. So I decided I'll never be somebody's plan B again. And I think I did quite a good job at it. I got my family, got my kids, I got my job, I'm independent, life is Gucci. I was very careful in life, but I'm very happy that I did that. No quick happiness for me. So the next clip has an emotional part. It can trigger people that don't have their parents, just so you know. It's a clip that I used when I was trying to replay mourning of my mom, because I couldn't mourn on my own. And this clip has the correct representation of how I am very happy with you, but she's looking at me back that I'm leaving you in the next few seconds. So the other part in this video, they start talking about what the therapy did for them, so I can't really relate to that. And there comes then the interesting question. So Meet, how did you cope with it officially, other than playing games and forget it? Because some people don't cure the sound. Did you forget the pain? Did you cure the pain, you know? And I just forgot the pain. But when my son was born, I realized that I could not keep a face up for somebody that doesn't care what my face is. Yeah, I don't need the poker face, and I realized that I needed to change. And a lot of emotion was coming through my body. When my son was born, I realized how happy he was and how I could have been damaged when my son was 6. And then I started hating my father big time. I started calling my father. We talked about a lot of stuff. I blamed him for many things. But then in the end, I just said, you know what? I can't do this. This is not going to work. I was getting more depressed the more I confronted him. So the only thing I could do is repress again and forgive him. End of story. I'm not gonna look at this again. I can't think about it 24/7. And it really freaking helped. It sounds so stupid, but I just sent a message. I'm sorry because of this. Forgive me because of that. I will never talk about this, and I wish you all the best in the future, Pa. And it was amazing. It was freaking amazing. What also helped, whenever I felt sad, when I wanted to mourn, I just drink a little wine, put like one anime, a sad movie, a sad scene, and just imagine the sad scene is me and my mother. And I will cry alone here, after behind this PC, cry a lot, like when no, not like that, but like dribbling, and it felt really good. I mourned at peace. And when I told my wife about this, she was like, but why don't you tell me? I wish I could, because she was there the first time. I told her, you don't understand. I need to mourn. I don't need to see your sad puppy eyes, because then I will be defensive, because I feel I want to protect you. And it felt really great, crying for real, just reimagining those stuff. I was watching Fox and the Hound when the grandma is leaving the fox behind, and I assume like my mom knew in the car with asthma that she was going to die, and I was happy watching him like that Fox and the Hound. Oh, that's I shouldn't even, but hey, life is Gucci. I've managed, and I've imagined that I could have kept this, and I did not stay in that pit, because that pit is really bad, and it will get better in the future. I'm just happy I spent 6 years happy with my mom. I never said any bad word, any negative thing. I always hugged her. I always joked. I remember everything. I have very good memory of those ages. It's like my head decided you have to keep these memories to be happy, and I'm very glad I could be very happy with that. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's kind of a little serious, this one, but it's always something that I always wanted to get out there. Hope it might help some people with reflection. And if you have a different view or point or whatever, hey, just let me know. Life is Gucci, okay? Take care, people.